Coming up on Gamers Week podcast.
All right, next up, officials have intercepted a passenger attempting to smuggle 350 Nintendo cartridges through Chinese custom by packing them into her bra.
Nintendo Switch cartridges, that's an important distinction. How big was this bra? And then, I wonder about the moment of reveal. Like, she takes it off and it just... this huge, waterfall of Switch cards.
And is it just the bra? Is that the only means of smuggling? Is it banana hammocks and...
You're not going to get as much bang for your buck in a banana hammock without drawing a lot more attention, I think. Hey.
They call me Tom Jones.
So you guys know you have those nights where you just keep dreaming about work and there's nothing you can do about it?
Oh, it's the f***ing worst.
Yeah, it's the f***ing worst. So last night I was dreaming that I was playing Elden Ring, but with my job mixed in. So when I died to a boss, I had to complete paperwork before I could be allowed to fight the boss again. Oof. And then I couldn't get the paperwork right in my dream. So it was like, sorry, your request for an additional boss fight has been denied. You have the incorrect information in box 9A, B, and 10C of this form. Please resubmit. I'd wake up and be like, this is stupid. Why are you dreaming about this? Just relax, go back to sleep. And then I'd go back to sleep. Same thing.
Still the same thing?
Yeah, this is a duplicate of a previous submission for this boss fight. Oh, God.
Please wait till the original ticket has finished processing.
Yep.
Ouch. Ryan's back, but do we care? If that is not the actual title this week.
Love you, buddy.
I would be very upset.
I'm looking at the thing. Let's go ahead and go.
I'm looking at my thing, too.
You're looking at your thing? Okay. I'm not looking at... Yeah.
Don't worry, I've got a magnifying glass down here.
I love that that's the line that we went live with.
Lovely. So let's do this then, kids.
Let's do it.
All right, welcome to Gamers Week podcast. Like the name says, we analyze the best, the worst, and the weirdest headlines of the past week in the video game industry. This is episode 122, and today is Wednesday, June 19th. 2024, and my name is Ryan, aka retrogamebrews, and I have with me two fine individuals, starting with a woman who is so well versed in the purchase of toys for Amazon that she has been upgraded to beta booty tester. Blue, how are you doing?
You know, before I sent you guys that picture of that letter, I paused. I was like, is this a good idea? How are they going to use this against me?
A good idea.
And now I found out.
What kind of toys are we talking about? The new G.I. Joe classified series? Masters of the Universe?
Yes. Aren't you jealous?
Oh, okay. I am, because I really like those toys.
And next up, I have a man whose facial hair says that I hit on the drink cart girl at the golf course, unironically. Donnie G. Donnie, how you doing today?
What, you don't? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, man. Come on. It's a rookie move, baby.
Yeah, but we need to address the elephant of the room, like Killjoy says in the chat. Oh, the stash. Not sure how I feel about that.
So the other day, I just got a wild hair up my ass, like I often do, and I started shaving off the thing, and I shaved off the beard. I left this. I was like, do I really want to go Cousin Lawrence? It's like, no, I just want to. It's already too hot outside. I live in the Midwest. It's 90 plus degrees. The humidity is getting ready to kick in. I was like, you know what? I want to get rid of the beard just for a couple of months, bring it back around August or September. But for now, let's go with the stash. And I don't know if I like it. I showed a picture of my wife to my wife who's out of town. She responded back, gross. So she doesn't like it. I'm on the fence about it. I just don't know.
I don't know. It's starting to grow on me.
Hand out a few mustache rides to your wife. I think she'll change her mind.
Who wants a mustache ride?
I will
send out tickets in Twitch chat for those to redeem your mustache ride at a later date.
It's the kind of rain check I want. All right, so why don't we go ahead, since we've obviously addressed the hugest elephant in the room. Let's go on to our reviews, reactions, and requests. First up from Gamer Girl Gabs. I had such a great time hanging out and talking to the wonderful peeps over at Gamers Week. Check them out if you have some time to listen. Thank you so much, Gabs. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Next up from Paul by Nature says, Konami's Silent Hill 2 remake looks excellent. Most of what Xbox has lined up looks amazing. PlayStation looking decent as always, and Nintendo not quite as strong, but lots to look forward to. Paul, I assume you typed this out before the Direct. I'm just going to throw that out there.
I would assume so as well, but you never know.
And so we got an interesting message. Apparently right now on Buzzsprout, you can get voicemails or voice to text. I don't know. What is that like?
So one of the options that Buzzsprout now offers is a link that goes out with every episode. And it's not just on Buzzsprout. It shows up on all the main podcast catchers as well. There's a link in every episode description to send us a text. So you can let us know what you thought about the show. You can send us a picture of your lunch, a picture of your feet. We'll send those on to Donnie.
No.
It's a whole new way to interact with Gamers Week.
He's just saying no because we're live on Twitch right now.
Right. No.
So from this week, from Pensacola, Florida, we got, I've been trying to reach you about your Yoshi Kart extended warranty. That was awesome. Clearly somebody who listens to the show, so much appreciated. When I first started reading it, when I first started reading it, I was like, what? Oh, well played. Well played.
Yep.
All right, so why don't we go ahead and shout out our patrons?
We couldn't do what we do without the help of our gorgeous patrons. Here are the generous folks supporting Gamers Week on Patreon. Ramboski, Terry Kinnear, Doongie Forever, A-Jill 2020, Ducks in Disguise, Don't Make Me Pull Over This Car, Sir Coffee of House Blend, first of his name, Hybrid Divide, Matto1606, You Fall Before Me, Davey PGH, the Redox PDX family, including Shannon and Luke, Zach Huge Thanks, #1 Blue Sick Boys fan, John Baran, Sony's Big Bouncy Quackers, Nevo Lust, Ry's Secret Best Friend, Mega Retro Man, Game Metroid, Maura Deeb, Michael the Kite, Emo Esque, Bill Tucker, The Real Retro Game Brews, Fruitcakes Pickled Pepper, Ducks with Thick Thighs, Wizard of Zardoz, Bobson Dugnut, Loudmouth, Retro Blast Pat, BNT Zilguy, The Mad Milkman, Seven Castle Forest, Crunchy Kong, Sheriff Snacks, Frank Grande, Love Retro BTW, and Steven Sand. If you like what you hear today, and we really hope you do, please consider joining us on Patreon. Your support helps cover the cost of producing the show, as well as other cool stuff we'll be doing like prizes and giveaways. You'll also gain access to our bi-weekly patron-only bonus cast called Gamers Week Uncut, Patrons with Benefits. Visit patreon.com/gamersweek or follow the link in the show notes to learn more.
I can't see in the chat says, that's not where wild hairs related to stashes come from, by the way.
You're true. They typically come out of the nose and then kind of form into the mustache. And you're like, where does the nose hair start and where does the mustache end?
These are deep questions, probably way too deep for Gamers Week.
Right.
Things you don't have to think about until you turn 40. All right, so why don't we go ahead and check out our headlines?
All right. Our headline segment is, of course, proudly sponsored by the Retro Game Club podcast. It's a fantastic, family-friendly retro gaming podcast. In each episode, Rob and Hugh pick 2 games to play and discuss, as well as news, interviews, and other topics. Right now, they're playing through Kung Fu Master and the Donkey Kong Arcade. Visit them at retrogameclub.net or follow the link in the show notes.
This is a lot of range, I gotta say. Donkey Kong Arcade, one of the best games ever made. Kung Fu Master for the arcade, one of the worst. So I'm loving the range on this one. But you've played Kung Fu on NES, right? And how super frustrating that game is.
Yes.
Imagine the controls being worse, though, where like you have a hard time moving back and forth because it's basically the same game, more or less, right? but the like ball hugger guys, because you can't move, because you can't move back and forth as easily as you can with like a D-pad because you're using a joystick. It just sticks all the time. It is the most frustrating game. And I was actually playing this at the Museum of Play a couple weeks ago. And I was like, oh, that's why I hate this game. And now I remember.
Fuck you, Frank.
Webhead in the chat says that stash has a Donnie on its ass. This is going to be a running theme throughout the episode.
I cannot wait.
Those of you who are just listening are really missing out.
Right. You really have to join the Twitch stream to see the stash live and in person.
The stash power.
I think I've played the Kung Fu game in the arcade maybe once or twice. But typically you're right. If you play one of the older games, it's either at a pizza joint or someplace where kids are spilling Slurpees and pizza grease all over that stuff. Right. And it sticks.
Picking their nose and putting it on the joystick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wiping that right on the screen. So I can't really remember like if the controls were easy or stiff or whatever, but Donkey Kong, I mean, that game, I've played so many different machines where it's nice and smooth or it gets stuck and you can't do anything.
Yes.
So
the one where just somebody who's been just railing on that joystick, you know?
Yeah, just reeling on it. Just giving it
give it to business. All right. So on that note, let's start off with this week's quick takes. First up is Lollipop Chainsaw Repop, the re-release of the cult classic Lollipop Chainsaw, which sees high school cheerleader Juliet fighting off scores of zombies while wearing her boyfriend's severed head on her belt. Has secured itself a release date. Lollipop Chainsaw Repop will relaunch digitally for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Switch, and PC via Steam on September 25th. A physical release will then follow with developer Dragami Games stating more details will be released at a later date. Described as the definitive version of Lollipop Chainsaw, Repop will bring a number of quality of life features to the game, leaving the story itself unchanged. So unchanged, not unchained.
Chained.
That's how you should do remakes and remasters. Just give a little, a new coat of paint to the graphics, fix the quality of life issues that are outdated, and leave the story. And that's it. That's all we need.
That's it. And you know what, too? I want to play it on a modern console. I don't want to have to switch back and forth. So that's why I would buy a re-release or a reskin of a game. That's fine. Right. That's exactly what it should be. You're right. It doesn't need to have a new story. It doesn't need to have a new plot angle. It doesn't need to have new mechanics that weren't in the original game. Kudos to Dragami Games. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
So when you say it doesn't need new mechanics, what about Resident Evil 2 versus Resident Evil 2 Remake when they took out the tank controls?
Is that a mechanic?
It's more like quality of life, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that under quality of life as well.
Okay. Just check.
But your point is well made, and we've had this discussion before with like N64, PS1 games where there's a lot of room for improvement. But I think Lollipop Chainsaw came out on the 360,
PS3,
360.
And you fall before me. You are correct. Yep. I am looking at you with Final Fantasy VII Remake.
PS3, Xbox 360. So it's not that far to go to bring it into a more modern feel of the game.
But the question is how far away does a game have to have been released for it to warrant a re-release?
Well, and you can't go too far.
Right. Well, and that's it.
Because if you're trying to take an Atari game and bring it into modern, it's going to be completely different. It will be unrecognizable. So there is a fine line there.
Is there a too soon, though, in your opinion?
Last of Us.
Exactly.
Sorry, something in my throat.
I'm not a big fan of taking something from the PS3 era and remaking it just yet. Those games still hold up. You can see everything clearly in those games with modern televisions. About the time the PS3 came out, that's when we had the LCDs, the plasmas, and whatnot. So I'm a big opponent of taking any game from the 360 or PS3 and trying to remake it now. You're right, Blue. The Last of Us, whenever that came out, it's like, oh, we're remastering The Last of Us. Why? That makes no sense.
Yeah, Horizon didn't need that treatment either. Yep, I agree. You fall before me.
Yeah. But so you'd rather just have a port?
Yes.
Yeah, if you're going to make it accessible to your modern console, again, so you don't have to switch between them. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I most of the time, though, I'm not such a purist that I'm going to complain if they give me quality of life upgrades.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
Give me the option. Give me the option to play Classic Edition or Upgraded.
There you go. I do like those remasters or ports or whatever you want to call them, that they have some upgraded graphics, but you flip a little switch, it takes you back to the original graphics.
Exactly.
Choice is good.
All right, next up is the Street Fighter movie has lost its directors. Where did they go? Talk to Me directors Danny and Michael Philippou, I think I got that one right, who had originally signed on to helm this movie, are no longer directing the Street Fighter film. According to The Hollywood Reporter, one of the main reasons why the Philippous are out is because Legendary and Capcom are looking to start production sooner than the brothers have prepared to commit. It's unclear how far along the script is for Street Fighter, but Legendary is already looking for new directors to take over. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that is the biggest part of it, scheduling with, when you work in film, scheduling is a constant battle. Stuff gets delayed, stuff goes long. You've got stuff planned out 5-6 years in advance and you're committed. So if somebody says, we want to start filming in 2025 and you're like, I'm booked through 2027, sorry, that kind of excludes you.
Right.
But we haven't heard much about this movie or about its production. So it does leave enough wiggle room for you to go, what's really going on?
It's just going to be the train wreck we all predicted it would
be. Do we want that, though? Do we want a train wreck just like the original Street Fighter movie was? Or do we want something decent? Like the original Mortal Kombat movie was not that great. I still love that movie. I have a lot of respect for it.
Same.
But when you compare that to the newer Mortal Kombat movie, that looks more polished. The graphics look amazing. Sub-Zero and Scorpion and all that stuff. And even Goro looks pretty badass. But the plot wasn't really that great.
I think Mortal Kombat is tough to make as a movie, as a story.
I agree.
There's just the lore. There's so many different characters to work in. You're going to leave somebody out that's it's somebody's favorite, so they're automatically going to hate it. You're going to have to change some other parts of the lore to make a relatively coherent story in 2 hours. It's a tough sell, and Street Fighter is going to come up with the same kinds of problems. It's got a lot fewer characters, I think, or at least it used to. Who even knows how it is now?
I think they're pretty equally balanced now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I am curious to see, are they going to go like campy and funny like they did before? Or are they going to be super serious about it like the Mortal Kombat movie?
I think one of the problems you run into, though, is with the Mortal Kombat movie, that was based off of essentially Enter the Dragon, right? So you can't make the same story as Enter the Dragon. That's the problem. Enter the Dragon was a great movie as far as Kung Fu is concerned. I mean, Bruce Lee, everything. Great film. But you try to remake that and everyone goes, oh, well, it's another Enter the Dragon. This is stupid.
Yeah, but people love that shit.
Well, and
Hollywood just keeps remaking the same stories over and over and people eat it up.
True.
And plus, how many people in modern audiences, like let's say 25 and under, have ever seen Enter the Dragon?
That's a good point. Yeah, and most of the kids who are playing this game have no clue that this entire franchise that they're in love with.
They'd be like, Bruce Lee, who?
Right.
And then they get smacked.
But Street Fighter itself, there's so many opportunities for this to be fun and exciting and entertaining. But either way, I think I'm going to be entertained. If it's a great movie and it's serious and they do all the things that make it good, I'll be entertained. If it's a train wreck, I will be entertained by this movie. So I am going to see it regardless of how it works out. Because if it's a train wreck, that will just be nostalgic for me. It'd be like, oh, look at this.
Right. It feels just like the original.
Right.
A gamer looks at 40 in the chat, says the Street Fighter movie needs to be a complete subversion of expectations. Make it a rom-com musical with fighting. I'm here for that.
How would you do that? Rom-com musical with fighting? That is so many adjectives.
Think of the solo that Bison would have. It would be amazing.
Bison up there, I'm so lonely. So very lonely.
Frank knew as soon as he knew it before I said it. As long as Cammy is in it, looking hot, right, Ryan? Mm-hmm.
Wearing the beret.
Yep. Instead of peaches, it would be chicas.
Doesn't roll off the tongue quite as
Not quite as well, but we're workshopping it.
Yeah.
All right, next up, officials have intercepted a passenger attempting to smuggle 350 Nintendo cartridges through Chinese custom by packing them into her bra. According to
Nintendo Switch cartridges, that's an important distinction. How big was this bra?
Now, according to a customs release obtained by Hong Kong News and translated via Google, the woman apparently looked nervous and behaved abnormally as she attempted to pass the airport's checks, leading to the officials to pull her aside and further questioning. The 350 Switch cartridges were estimated to be worth a whopping 70,000 yuan, around $9,600, if you were wondering.
So, did she steal these? Or did you have to, do you have to declare them?
My thought is because there's so many games that are not allowed in China.
That's what I was thinking too.
It's like, this is legit smuggling, but it's not drugs or anything like that. It's like, we're going to smuggle Nintendo games.
Okay.
And the Switch is region free, so you can do that.
All right. I'm trying to think of how much extra there was.
And when they pulled her aside, they're like, ma'am, this doesn't feel right.
Is that what they did? They're like, ma'am.
That's what I wondered. Like, what do you do? How do you find that they're in there?
Why is there all clumpy and my fingers are going through spaces? What is this?
Right. And then I wonder about the moment of reveal. Like, she takes it off and it just this huge waterfall of Switch cards.
And is it just the bra? Is that the only means of smuggling? Is it banana hammocks and
You're not going to get as much bang for your buck in a banana hammock without drawing a lot more attention, I think. Hey.
They call me Tom Jones.
I can see in the chat says she had to be rattling when she's walking around, just
I was thinking the same, like
a bag, like a thing of Tic Tacs or whatever.
Maybe she had them packed really well, though. You know what I mean?
Probably, yeah.
Like you would roll pennies or something. You have them rolled up tight.
Tighter than a pair of Chinese finger cuffs.
Nice. Chasing Amy reference for the win.
There you go, baby.
Mm-hmm. All right, next up from Software Boss.
Hidetaka
Miyazaki. Yeah, I got it. I'm so good at Japanese names. Addresses the gaming industry's layoffs by saying, as long as the company's my responsibility, I will not let that happen. I think it was the old ex-president of Nintendo, Iwata-san, who said that people who are afraid of losing their jobs are afraid of making good things. I'm paraphrasing that, but I totally share this view. Miyazaki said, during one of many brutal waves of layoffs this year, fans pointed to the 2 times former Nintendo president Satoru Iwata took a pay cut instead of laying off workers, a move no current game CEOs seem eager to replicate. In just one example, EA's top exec earned $60 million in the fiscal year of 2024, despite the company laying off hundreds of employees. I mean, honestly, if your company isn't doing well and it's forcing you to lay people off, why don't you as a CEO take responsibility for that? I mean,
100%.
If Iwata could do it, so can you. And the fact that you're taking home $60 million, I mean, let's be honest, $60 million plays for a lot of people.
Yeah, it does. It does boggle my mind. If the company's not doing well, the people who are making the decisions should be the ones to answer for it, not the employees who are just doing what they're told. And so it's nice to see an example of someone standing up and saying, this is not going to happen under my watch. Now, of course, it remains to be seen if he can stick to that.
Right.
And I don't think the timing of this is lost as well, considering that Elden Ring has its big DLC coming out this week. So a lot of the eyes of the world are on From Software this week. But still, it's appreciated and it's nice to see.
Oh, that's the okay. I was like, Software Boss. Okay, what company is it? No, but it's From Software.
I know. It's modern games, Donnie. Don't worry.
Hey. I play some modern games, all right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Name one that's not Call of Duty. Go.
Elden Ring.
Did you play Elden Ring?
Straight. Yeah, I played it for like all of 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
But a game company like From Software, who is successful with their games that come out, I really don't see a reason why you have to lay off people, especially if you have new games that are continuing to come out or games that are continuing to churn in revenue, like maybe a subscription service, even though I hate them. If people are continuing to purchase that or be a part of it, then it shouldn't be that you're laying people off. I totally agree with the fact that if your company is not doing well, you're the one responsible. You're in the top position. It shouldn't be, well, let's let go of all these workers so I can keep all my money. Fuck that and screw you. Take a pay cut.
And to his point, you're not going to, if somebody's afraid of losing their job, you're not going to take risks. You're not going to try to make the next best thing. You're just going to work as hard as you can to not get fired.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to do your job well when you feel like your company's not behind you.
Right.
Of course.
So I think it's just, not only is it the right thing to do from like a human perspective, it's good business.
As Wilford Brimley has said, it's the right thing to do and the right way to do it.
Didn't he also say diabetes?
Yes, he did.
Didn't he also have a mustache like that?
Oh my God.
Not as thick.
You do. You have a Wilford Brimley mustache.
No, I do not. It has to be. I do not look like a walrus, and that's exactly what Wilford Brimley looked like, okay?
Yet. You do not look like a walrus yet.
I'm going to put a little clip of a certain Beatles song just right here in the show. There it is.
All right. And last up, an Elden Ring stringer committed to an ill-advised playthrough where they had to drink after every death, then gave up to preserve their own health. The challenge in question was taken on by Twitch streamer and content creator Your Bud Tevin, who decided to add a new level of difficulty to the Lands Between by taking a drink after every death, as well as after using any summons and any time that runes were lost. Your Bud Devin wasn't able to emerge victorious on this particular stream, capping off the experience after 80 sips.
Okay, I was going to say, because at first they said swig.
Yeah, there's a lot of details that I think make or break this challenge. Like, what are we swigging or sipping, and how big are the swigs/sips?
Exactly.
And how fast was it done?
You could do this if you're just sipping, like to get a tall can of Bud Light or Budweiser and just take a sip. Every time I die, sip, sip, sip. You could you could probably do it.
Probably.
Yeah, but if you're swigging, if you're like, go, 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 that's one, I died. No, you're going to be passed out.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
You'd be dead after 20 minutes.
And see, when I first read this, I thought it said shots, and I was like, what?
Oh, right. My God.
Fortunately not, though.
Oh, that would be hell. I don't know if have you guys ever done the Century Club?
A shot of beer every minute for 100 minutes?
Every minute for 100 minutes. I did that once. I think I got through like 50 shots. And by that time, I was just like, nope. And I'm not sure if I ended up throwing it all up. But at first I was just like, oh, a shot of beer? Beer's nothing. Like, okay. But it really starts getting to you. And
it was the volume that was the problem in the end, right?
Of course, yes.
Yeah, that's the thing.
All right, so I'm going to look up, right? So 1.5 ounces is a shot, right? So divided by 12. Rough order of magnitude is about 5.5 beers. That's not terrible.
No.
An empty stomach is only about the size of your fist, but can stretch to hold as much as 4 liters of food and fluid. So what was your problem then, Donnie?
I just got called out face.
That was marginally accusational, and I don't care for that.
So I am a little concerned, though, that this is going to lead to more challenges like this, and somebody's going to freaking die, right?
I don't think so, because he failed so miserably. And as I understand it, watching his stream, it was very apparent how impaired he was.
Oh my God.
So
Face pretty quick.
Yeah. So I'm not sure it's the kind of thing where everybody else said, that sounds like a great idea. I'll try that.
Kids are stupid.
Yes. The younger generation, they're dumb. You will get people, and if you're listening, that's just the way it is. You guys have your TikTok challenges and all this shit, and you end up hurt and dying and stuff like that. This is Darwinism at its finest. You're going to get people that'll say, hey, I can do that better than this guy. I can surely do that. And they're going to die. And that's it. I'm
pretty sure it's also a violation of Twitch TOS, though.
I was thinking the same thing, actually.
To be drinking on stream?
Or to be drinking that much.
Again, because they're trying to do it for the content, because they're trying to become famous as a result of this. To Donnie's point, Darwinism.
Darwinism.
All right, so why don't we go ahead and jump into our main topic for this evening.
From GameSpot, Nintendo Direct June 2024, all the biggest announcements. The Nintendo Direct June 2024 live stream has wrapped up, and in case you missed it, this was a short but packed showcase full of games coming to the Switch console this year and well into 2025. Here are the highlights. Kicking off the Nintendo Direct was Mario and Luigi Brothership. Out on November 7th, the game stars everyone's favorite plumbers on a new island-hopping adventure. Ported over from Apple Arcade, Fantasian is on its way to Switch and other platforms soon. With development led by Final Fantasy creator Hironobu Sakaguchi and composer Nobu Uematsu, Fantasian Neo Dimension contains English and Japanese voiceovers, an additional difficulty option, and a fun turn-based battle system full of unique gameplay mechanics. Visually, the game looks pretty great as it's set against the backdrop of over 150 handcrafted dioramas.
The King of Kong is back. First released on the Nintendo Wii, Donkey Kong Country Returns HD includes all the original levels from that game and the extra levels from the Nintendo 3DS version. It'll land on Switch on January 16th. A trilogy of Dragon Quest games are getting the HD 2D treatment, and you won't have to wait too long to play these classic RPGs. Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD Remake will arrive in 2025, while Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D Remake will be available starting November 14. Arcade and fighting game fans are in for a treat, as several of Capcom's excellent Marvel games are getting a new release. The new collection includes X-Men Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 New Age of Heroes, and The Punisher.
At long last, Nintendo just announced a Legend of Zelda game where you get to play as the iconic princess. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom launches September 26th on the Switch and is a brand new story set in the Kingdom of Hyrule. Alongside word of the new Zelda game, Nintendo released a new Hyrule Edition Switch Lite that features the gold design and Triforce imagery, and will be available the same day as Echoes of Wisdom. Billed as the biggest Mario Party game yet, Super Mario Party Jamboree will be available starting October 17th for the Switch, and there'll be more than 110 mini-games, a collection of returning and new game boards, and you can join up to 20 players for some online competition in Koopathon mode.
Get ready for a date on the court in Nintendo Switch Sports, as basketball is being added to the fitness game as part of a free update. Modes include 2v2 local and online matches, 3-point challenge, and a 5-street battle mode. Funko Pops are everywhere, and now the dead-eyed little collectibles are preparing to invade your Switch on September 13th. This game features Funko-fied characters from TV, film, comics, and games, and there will be over 60 of them to collect as you solve puzzles, explore new worlds, and relive some of the greatest moments from pop culture, like Fonzie jumping the shark. We've all dreamed of the Hobbit lifestyle, and Really? And in Tales of the Shire, the Lord of the Rings game, you'll get to live that Middle-earth fantasy as you decorate your burrow, tend to your garden, and eat far too many breakfasts, and get your throats around a hobbit who's trying to steal your ring. That's precious.
Weird kink, but I'm into it.
Oh yeah, choke me, daddy. At long last, Metroid Prime 4 resurfaced during the Nintendo Direct with a brief but attention-grabbing trailer. Now going under the title of Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, Nintendo is currently planning to launch this first-person shooter in 2025.
So I will say, Nintendo shot themselves in the foot on this Direct.
How so?
Because this is going to be the Direct that everyone will compare every future Direct to. Why you got to throw all this good stuff into one basket, man? You got to space it out. Space it out. Just give us a lot of small, really good updates and a bunch of crap that we don't care about. There you go.
Are you complaining?
No, I'm just saying. No, what I get so sick of though is when 99 times out of 100, when a Nintendo Direct comes out, everybody's like, "That was stupid. That was boring. I don't care about it." And then this one, everyone just freaked out and was like, "This is the best thing ever."
There was a lot to freak out about.
And you know what? Banger after banger after banger. And
yeah,
I had to at some point just log off of Twitter because I hadn't watched it and I didn't want to get the spoilers thrown at me. But it happened anyway. So there you go.
Why are you making that face, Donnie?
Because I have to. I don't know if I agree with you that there was banger after banger after banger. I saw a bunch of the same shit. I saw a bunch of the same fantasy anime-esque RPG games that are just flooded the damn market by now. And I'm like, oh, Donkey Kong. Oh, Marvel vs. Capcom. Oh, new Zelda game. So I wouldn't necessarily call it a banger after banger, but that's just me.
It depends what you're into.
Yeah, I guess I would say
Ryan's into RPGs.
It's true.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
And I will say that the consensus seemed to be, at least on Twitter, that this was a really good Direct, is from what I saw.
Right. I think there was probably at least one thing that everybody could be really excited about.
Right.
Of course.
I mean, for example, the Metroid Prime 4 fans have been some of the most patient and long-suffering out there. I think it's some of them have pre-ordered the game like 8 years ago, and then they share their little screenshots. It's like an annual tradition on Amazon when it gets the expected due date gets updated to the next year. And so I'm very happy for them. It's a first-person shooter. I don't like those, so I'm not going to play it. But I know this game has been a long time coming, so I'm happy for them.
Is this the only Metroid game that's a first-person shooter?
No.
Metroid Prime.
No.
That series is all first-person shooters.
Right.
Okay.
Metroid Prime, it's one of those games, too. Either you absolutely love it or you just don't get it. Doesn't seem to be a whole lot of...
You just don't get it.
Right. This doesn't seem to be like a whole lot of strong opinions in the middle when it comes to Metroid Prime. And especially like other M and other additions to the series are very controversial. So I hope this one, at least for Metroid Prime fans, this one ends up being as good as they hoped.
Okay.
Right. Because if it's not, I mean, Metroid Dread was as good as we hoped.
Yeah, definitely. Fantastic.
So I have a lot of positive hope for this one as well. But yeah, you're correct. And especially with something that's been announced so far in advance and then the expectations are so high, you just never know.
I'm going to make it a point to go back and play and beat at least one Metroid game because I've never beaten a single Metroid game. And I mean talking about the original one on the NES. I think back in the day, it was just a little bit too difficult. And the last time I tried it, it was, again, the whole argument where you need a guide to get through everything and find everything. Because I'm not trying to spend half my life looking for things on my own in Metroid. And honestly, even whenever Super Metroid came out, I was just like, I wasn't that into Metroid, so I don't think I'd ever be into Super Metroid. So subsequently, I've never played the first-person shooter ports of, I wouldn't say port, or renditions of Metroid.
You should play Metroid Dread. I think you might actually like it. It's
Metroid
a modern
Dread.
feeling Metroid. Quality of life stuff. Nice graphics.
Okay.
And it's 2D. Right, so you being an old head, you'd love the 2D.
Motherfucker.
It's the stash, man. It's the stash.
So the thing that excited me most of the whole showcase was Mario and Luigi Brothership. 'Cause
Really?
I think it's been 8 or 9 years since there was a new game in that series. I love that series. They've all been on the DS and 3DS, and they're so fun and so well done. So I'm really, really looking forward to another entry in that series.
Okay. I don't think I've ever played that series or knew that was even a series. I saw the thing. I thought it was like maybe a team up, like you had to team up with another player. They were forcing you to do that. And I'm like, first, whenever I saw that, I was like, yeah, Blue's probably not going to like that. But here we go. I was proven wrong.
You play by yourself and you play as both Mario and Luigi. You probably wouldn't like it though, because they've been on handhelds up until now, and you both hate handhelds. They are turn-based. I know how much you love turn-based stuff, and they're kind of kiddish. Like, I'll be honest, because they're Mario
I don't
and
mind
Luigi.
the kiddish. I'm looking at the gameplay right now. Yeah, the cartoon style is fine. It's Mario and Luigi.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it could be fun, but as long as it's not like I have to team up with somebody else to play, then I'm fine with that.
At least you haven't up until now in this series. You play as
Right.
both Mario and Luigi.
The one that excited me, but also kind of confused me, was Dragon Quest coming back and doing a remake for those. The reason I'm confused is I'm surprised that they went with 3 first, and then they're going to do 1 and 2 later on.
Because 3 comes first chronologically in the story.
Which it does. You're right. Don't get me wrong, but the we'll say gameplay and excitement of 3 is much better than 1 and 2. 1 is a 6-hour game tops, you know.
It's like why they're remaking Silent Hill 2 instead of Silent Hill 1.
That's true. You know,
Right.
Let's just go to the one that people actually want
that's fair. That's fair.
instead of starting at the beginning.
Please help me. Dragon Quest is Dragon Warrior, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Super Nintendo is when they switched over to it being called Dragon Quest versus Dragon
Gotcha.
Warrior in the West, right? But also, where's 4? 4 is probably the best.
They haven't put out any of them yet, and you're asking for 4?
I want 4. I think they should have started with 4. 4 is the best one out of all of them, and that's debatable. I would imagine many people like 3 better than 4, but I really, really loved 4. 4 is a great
4
game.
is over there on my shelf.
Yep, and you know what? It's also very expensive to own that too. So
Yes, it is.
right, so giving people more access to that game and having it an HD remake, I think I would be all over it. But 3 also really, really great games. So definitely looking forward to this and having it available on the Switch and some new polish, make it look nice.
What about you, Donnie? What was your favorite game of the Direct?
Immediately, I would have to say the Marvel versus Capcom collection. I'm a huge fighting fan, so getting all of those games in one collection to where I don't have to go out and buy them piecemeal on a classic system like the PlayStation or the Dreamcast or the Saturn or what have you. Now I've got them all here together in one little collection. There you go. That was my biggest thing that I saw. And also Donkey Kong, the new Donkey Kong game. Once you guys started talking about it, I was like, oh crap, yeah, this is a remake of the Wii game.
I don't think it's a remake. I think it's just a port.
Yep. And interestingly enough, the Wii is like version is actually more or less like a remake of the Super Nintendo version. In fact, like
But
the
not
first,
really.
yeah, but like the first level is exactly the same, and then it just starts to deviate from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's fine because this will be like a completely brand new game for me and a new experience because I never played the Wii version of this game. So seeing the action on the game where it's the classic platformer, but also using making good use of today's modern technology with the forefront or the background coming into the foreground. I saw that and I was like, whoa, okay, I really like that. So for me, and I'm like I said, I'm not really that big of a Metroid person. I think I could probably get into that game. The new Legend of Zelda, I guess appropriately named now.
Yeah, we need to talk about Legend of Zelda.
I don't know how I feel about it. Okay, because I liked Breath of the Wild. I liked Tears of the Kingdom, even though I haven't played Tears of the Kingdom. I liked how they look, how they felt. I even liked how this one looked, even though it's like little. I don't know what chibi, is that what you call that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not my biggest cup of tea, but I think I could get into that just because if it's a Legend of Zelda series, and if the gameplay is pretty damn good, then I'll take it. When they panned out and you got to see all of Hyrule, I'm like, that's freaking cool. But that's not on my top list.
In a lot of ways, it's really exciting, right? So it's the first Zelda game in the series where you get to play as Zelda.
On a Nintendo console.
On a Nintendo console. It's in the style of the Link's Awakening remake, which was super fun and super well done. But I do have a lot of hesitations about it. They didn't show much of the actual combat in the game, and that's what has me most concerned. So the deal with the game is they had Eiji Oanuma there in the direct saying, we wanted to try something different with this game and not what Zelda fans are used to. And I get that. And that's great. And the Zelda series constantly reinvents itself. And we know to expect that by now. But so they've given Zelda the Tri-Staff, and it's a wand that she can use to copy objects in the world. So They show her copying a table and she can use it to climb mountains. Okay, fine. And you copy a bush and it blocks some wind so you can go by it. Fine. That kind of creative puzzle solving, I can get behind that. But when it came to the combat, from what they showed, it looked like your options were to fight with monsters that you've copied or to throw objects at the enemy, which just looks obnoxious.
Right.
To both, you're in the middle of a fight, you got to first copy the object, then go get it, then throw it. And so in a way, like I see why you wouldn't just want to give Zelda a sword and have her just be a carbon copy of Link in the games, but at the same time, it feels a little bit like a Princess Peach Showtime kind of a deal where she's being princessified or like girlified instead of just like let her be Zelda the warrior that we know her like from the Breath of the Wild games.
Girls can't go into battle, Blue. We all know this.
That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like to me. And the other thing about the copying is after you've played for a while and you've got a lot of things to copy in your library, how is that item management going to work?
Ooh, good point.
Because, for example, in Tears of the Kingdom, they have the fusion ability. And one of the things you can do is you can fuse items to your arrows and create different kinds of arrows. But the problem is, after several hours, you're scrolling forever to get to the one thing that you want to fuse to your arrow. Of course, that's an optional part of the game. You don't have to. But with this game, it looks like it's the entire gameplay.
Right.
So maybe Nintendo has an answer for this. Maybe it's going to be an amazing game, and I certainly hope so. But I have some concerns.
And one of the other pieces to this is that it looked to me like it's super, super puzzly. Zelda games have always had puzzle elements to it. Don't get me wrong. Right.
Yes, they have.
But this seemed to me like the main focus of this was utilizing that echo or copying technology to essentially solve puzzles over and over and over again. And to me, how long does that stay fun is my question. I don't know if there's a good answer to that right now. But to me, at least it looks like that seems to be based off of just the trailer alone. It could be completely different. I could be completely wrong based off of what the final
we're
product
judging
is.
All of this based on 2-3 minutes of gameplay.
I just think that they were so excited to show this echo ability, but if that's the whole game, I also have concerns.
Exactly. If the game is the echo ability, I'm not sold.
Right.
But then again, as you just said, how long can that remain fun? The same thing can be said for a regular Link game or Zelda game where it's the same damn thing. I fight this guy, whatever, bam. I fight this character, whatever. I just mow my way down to the boss, and this is something different. And maybe that's what Nintendo saw. They said, we can't just give them another Legend of Zelda game, even though we are making Zelda as the main protagonist here. It's just going to feel like a repackaged Zelda thing. So we have to do something different.
Yeah,
I'll give him kudos for not playing it safe, because they could have easily just went palette swap,
of course,
and put Zelda in there,
like Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom.
Mm-hmm. So
no, that's the same palette. It's not really a swap.
I'll give you that one. Okay. The same exact palette. It's just a DLC. That's all Tears of the Kingdom was.
Pretty much, yeah. The biggest
big DLC then.
Right.
Huge.
So, treading in that water of I'm skeptical, but we'll see how it plays out. I'm sure Zelda fans will love it, regardless of the gameplay. It's another excuse to play in Hyrule. It's another excuse to play with those characters. So I'm sure it will sell well.
Yeah. And I'm sure I'll get it.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I will probably get the freaking Switch Lite. I got to be honest.
The gold Switch Lite.
Yes.
Yeah.
I missed out on it when it was 3DS. Of course. It's going to look great on my shelf.
Gotta love that shelf candy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, well, let's move on to our top 3 new releases. First out is #Blood, out on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Save your friends, fight off the vampire apocalypse, and survive the horrors of freshman field hockey practice in #Blood, a delightfully zany animated dungeon crawler that blurs the line between action RPGs and hyperkinetic 90s cartoons. Next is Still Wakes the Deep, out on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. 1975 disaster strikes the Bayradee oil rig off the coast of Scotland. Navigate the collapsing rig to save your crew from an otherworldly horror on the edge of logic and reality. And then the one everybody has been waiting for, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, out on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. The Shadow of the Erdtree expansion features an all-new story set in the land of Shadow, imbued with mystery, perilous dungeons, and new enemies, weapons, and equipment. So out of these 3, what are you in for, Donnie?
Well, starting with Elden Ring, since I have only played 5 minutes of the first one, I can't say whether or not I would pick this one up. From everything I've heard, Elden Ring sounds amazing, and yes, I still have yet to get to it. So going with the other 2, Blood or Still Wakes the Deep, they both look fun. I saw the trailer for Blood. I like the comic style of it.
It's #Blood. That's the actual name.
Hashtag,
you have to say the hashtag.
Sorry. It's #Blood. I like the look of it. I like the art style. Whether or not I would be into the gameplay, that's remaining to be seen. But Still Wakes the Deep looks spot on. My cup of tea. First person horror kind of. I've seen the gameplay for this thing, and I think that's, for me, it's an immediate day one buy.
Ooh, Donnie doesn't buy anything day one.
And it's out. It's out now. It's out today, I think. So let's buy it.
Yay, let's buy it.
Yeah, if you could send us your credit card information, we'll buy it for you, I swear.
Mm-hmm.
It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's amazing. I have the same combination on my luggage.
What about you, Ryan?
So pound symbol blood looks looks interesting. I will say kind of the fun, like, regular show Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, Cartoon Network, Scott Pilgrim vibes.
Exactly. So there's definitely some nostalgia there to be had. So it's definitely something I would check out. Not like, oh my God, I need to get this, but yeah, it's got those kind of action RPG elements, which would be fun. I think it would be fun. So definitely, like, quasi interested in this one. Still Wakes the Deep. I was actually thinking of you, Donnie, while watching the stuff for this. I was like, this is his cup of tea. He's going to love it. And if you don't stream this, I will find you. I will hunt you down.
You don't need to hunt me down. You know my address. You know where I live.
And I will make you play that Shire game.
You'll just stand above me like a disappointed dad. Like, you're going to finish your homework, Junior. And I'm like, okay.
Which leads me to Elden Ring. This may be the game that forces me to buy a PS5.
Ooh.
Because I want to experience the game as it's intended on the right console. And I think maybe it's time. Elden Ring.
That's actually a good reminder of, what was your gaming New Year's resolution?
To buy a PS5.
No, it wasn't.
No.
You were meant to try 3 Souls-likes.
Yeah.
15 hours each.
Yeah.
Still has 6 months left.
Yeah, and we're halfway through the year.
So buy a PS5 and go crazy, right?
Right.
So yeah, thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you
Clayman
for ruining.
especially would be disappointed if I didn't point that out.
Canadians. All right, Blue, but what about you?
So Still Wakes the Deep, first-person horror game. That's another one of those that I think will be amazing to watch somebody stream, Donnie. But I don't want to play it myself because I don't like first-person games. Yeah. Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree. I have not finished Elden Ring. I have not played it far enough to be able to start the DLC, but I do really want to pick it up at some point, which kind of leaves me with #blood. The thing that, well, I think the art style and like the energy of it seems really fun. The thing that I'm not sure about is that it says that social media specifically is part of the gameplay. I don't know what that means. I don't know how they use it. I want to watch some more extended gameplay and see how that is utilized to see, because it's just from hearing it like that, it sounds obnoxious. And it's something that you really just don't need and what would otherwise looks like a really fun dungeon crawler. So I'm this week I'm going to pick #blood with an asterisk.
With a to be seen or to be continued.
Yeah, to be determined.
All right, so before we move on, let's take a quick break to talk about our sponsor. This segment is proudly sponsored by A Gamer Looks at 40 podcast. The show explores the history of video games through the series and experiences of people who lived it. This week, Bill takes a break from Final Fantasy grind to talk about NBA All-Star Challenge on the Super Nintendo on Tales from the Bargain Bin. Spoiler alert, this game is terrible, and it will be a blast to discuss. So this week's question is, what is your favorite retro sports game? Let Bill know your answer by sending him a tweet at A Gamer Looks at 40 on Twitter. So, Blue, what is your favorite retro sports game? I knew this was going to be a tough one. So that's why I went with you first.
That's a good one, man.
Does GameCube count as retro?
Technically, yes. I'll give
Perfect.
you that.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to say Mario Superstar Baseball. Favorite retro sports game.
Oh, that is such a cop-out.
Is it not a sports game?
It's not a cop-out.
Is it not retro?
She's got a point.
She does.
And what? Like, you really have to ask if GameCube is retro? Of course it is. It's over 20 years old.
Retro is more of a feeling than a hard and fast rule.
All right.
Right? We all feel that way.
Yeah. It's funny because some people are purists. They're like, the N64 and before. No, don't you dare move past the N64.
And that's kind of how I feel.
Right.
I feel like if it was released when I was an adult, it doesn't feel retro. And that's where my personal cutoff is. So that's why I was asking about the GameCube.
Fair enough. All right. So I'm going to go with Tecmo Bowl. I love that game. That is so much fun.
It's a great choice.
Music is fantastic. The ridiculousness of the game is hilarious. And the fact that you can throw like 100 yards if you just back up, keep backing up.
Right. And Bo Jackson, come on.
Right. Doesn't get any better than Bo. Bo knows. Bo knows.
What about you, Donnie?
He's on fire.
Oh, NBA Jam. That's a good point.
Town.
I've been thinking about NBA Jam.
I've got the arcade 1-up cabinet downstairs, and when I have people over, we'll get on NBA Jam, Golden Tee. Actually, Golden Tee is another one, but they're still making Golden Tee games now. But NBA Jam, I've got that, and we have 4-player tournaments and stuff like that, especially whenever I host a football draft or whatnot at my house. And that, to me, will always be my go-to retro sports game.
Fantastic game. And you know the guy from The Voice.
Yeah, Tim Kitzrow.
Indeed.
We're on a first-name basis. He knows me. I know him.
Really?
No, not really. I mean, he recognizes me whenever I go to like a convention or whatever. I'm like, hey, yada, yada, yada. He's like, oh, yeah. I remember you, stuff like that. But it's not like he sees me. He's like, Donnie! I'm like, Tim, hey, give me a hug, you old son. Come on, get in here.
Slap his ass on his way out.
Damn. See you next year, Tim.
Good game.
Tim, if you're listening, can we please be friends?
I want to party with you, man.
I was like, party? I'm old. I don't want to party.
All right, well, thank you for coming, students. Please take your seats and welcome back to Professor Rybread's Gaming History 101. And in today's lesson, we'll be talking about the greatest thing to come out of Sweden since furniture you have to put together yourself. From humble beginnings, this game turned out to be a worldwide phenomenon that is still growing strong today. We, of course, are talking about the best-selling game of all time, Minecraft, and its creator, Notch. You guys have played this? Yes or no?
No.
I've dabbled in Minecraft. It's just when I play a game, I don't want to create, and that's why I don't like Super Mario Maker or Minecraft.
You just want to be given the experience. You don't want to create.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah, that's why he has a degree in game design.
Burn. All right. So if you haven't heard about Minecraft, please tell me where you exist. I want to live in a world without the influence of literally any outside media. So give me a call. Let me know. But chances are, even if you're not a gamer, you've heard of Minecraft because it is the single best-selling game of all time. Starting from a passion project of just one man to becoming a completely new way to game that caught the world by storm, Minecraft isn't simply about farming or gathering materials or building structures. It's one of those games that allows you to play exactly the way you want. If you're into speedrunning, for example, Minecraft has got it. If you want to build photorealistic buildings and art, Minecraft has got that. If you want to be a jerk to other players and ruin their day, Minecraft has got that. And if you want to develop an entire society with you and 100 of your closest friends while developing philosophy, religion, economies, and laws, Minecraft has got it. So that is likely why this game has been so successful. The players determine the gameplay, and that gives people the freedom to do pretty much whatever they want. But before being the biggest thing to hit gaming since Tetris, Minecraft started as the brainchild of one man, Market Person, better known as Notch. Notch had a difficult childhood with a father that suffered from severe mental illness, and while Notch wouldn't be in contact with his father after his parents' divorce, the one thing he did teach Notch was computers on their Commodore 128. This led Notch down the path of starting to program and develop his own game, starting with a text-based adventure game he created when he was only 8 years old, and even reverse engineering the Doom engine while in high school. Now, Minecraft was not the first game Notch had developed. During his early career, he was developing browser-based Flash games, which I used to play the ever-loving crap of back in the day, but would eventually come out with his first independent game called Ruby Dung. It's an isometric 3D base building game similar to Roller Coaster Tycoon or Dwarf Forest. Now, Notch would release the game on the TIG Source forums, which was the website dedicated to indie developers. Now, during the development of the game, Notch played around with creating a first-person mode, but lost interest in this mode due to the simplistic graphics, an ironic decision for sure. Now, eventually, Notch would start with a game similar to Ruby Dung, he referred to as just Cave Game, which he would release to the public via the TIG Source forums on May 17, 2009. The game was simple looking, didn't involve a lot of complex tools or menus, and utilized some of the base building elements of Ruby Dung and mining elements from a game Notch loved called Infiniminer. That one is, I've been trying to say it over and over again to get it right. All right. So the game was received well amongst the forum. However, it was very basic. Consisted of an island floating in nothingness, and you could totally fall off into that nothingness and basically die in a game-breaking abyss. Now, what made Minecraft unique had to do with Notch's approach to feedback. He would listen to players, review their feedback, and make changes he felt would better the experience for players. Rather than doing what most AAA studios do and try to make the best game the first time, Notch knew that if he listened to players, he could continue to make the game more exciting and fun. The changes were a draw to players as they could continue to come back and find what changes Notch had made and how these new elements, tools, etc. could be used to play the game. In fact, Notch made Secret Fridays for a stint where he would add something new each Friday, giving players something to look forward to. The popularity of the game would be almost purely from word of mouth and social media, in particular YouTube, where players would upload videos of their creations. As the game progressed, Notch would create new releases for the game that made major changes, such as its 2011 release that included the Ender Dimension and the game's first boss battle. In 2009, the alpha stage that added the ability to craft, smelt, and included several survive tactics. The beta stage in 2010 that added new biomes, including snow-covered one that allowed players to throw snowballs, as well as redstones and beds. Eventually, Notch would port the game to mobile as well, so if you wanted to craft on the go, or while you were doing the go, you could do that. Now, the game's popularity caught the eye of Microsoft. Yeah, you laughed at that joke. The game's popularity caught the eyes of Microsoft, which would purchase Minecraft in 2014 for $2.5 billion. However, the acquisition of Minecraft will continue to receive regular updates for players to play and explore. Now, Minecraft's popularity continues to be strong to a very dedicated community of players, some of which as now making mods and private servers for the game to play and conduct social experiments and create countless amounts of content for the masses to enjoy. So Minecraft itself, huge phenomenon. It's gotten to the point where it's got merch. There are specific consoles that you can buy that are Minecraft related. There's memes out there that people have associated with the Minecraft community are now part of kind of the zeitgeist of today. So when we look at Minecraft as a whole, it's not just the game itself, but it is the community and the experiences that people have brought from their experience in the game. Now, to wrap things up, the game itself sold over 300 million copies, making it the best-selling game of all time. And starting off from a passion project from just one man who was dedicated to his player base to a franchise that continues to influence games and capture the imagination of players of all ages. So thank you for attending today's Gaming History 101. And just remember, if you have ideas for a story or topic you'd like to hear, send us a message at gamersweekpodcast@gmail.com, and we might feature your suggestion.
That's a novel idea, listening to feedback of your players of the game and then... Wow.
Yeah, but for AAA studios, we already give them enough for having to do day one patches. So
I have to do a day one patch.
That's the thing is we can't praise this guy over here and criticize them. It's a completely different model. They shouldn't be compared. It's apples and oranges.
But what I think is cool about this is imagine being like one of the first people to play the original versions of this game and just watching it grow to what it is today. I think that would be...
I was there, Gandalf.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I was there. So I think just over time, and it seems to be like whenever somebody joins in on it, they have this kind of nostalgic view of how the game used to look versus how it looks today. And it seems to continue to grow. So I would love to create a game and then 6 years later sell it for $2.5 billion.
I would like that very much too. I don't have any skills though. So
well, I was going to say, what's stopping you?
You didn't reverse engineer the Doom engine when you were in high school?
I did not. I was busy doing other things in high school.
Nice.
There it is.
All right, so why don't we go ahead and wrap up this episode. So thank you all for listening to episode 122 of Gamers Week Podcast. And a big thank you to the Retro Game Club Podcast, Love Retro BTW, and A Gamer Looks at 40 Podcast for sponsoring this episode. Don't forget to check out their links in the show notes. And if you want to connect to Gamers Week, follow us on Twitter at Gamers Week PC. Watch us right here on Twitch at twitch.tv/Gamers Week Podcast, where we will record live every Wednesday at 8:30 Central Time. Email us at gamersweekpodcast@gmail.com. Visit our merch store at gamers-week-podcast.creator-spring.com. Or if you want to do it the easy way, follow the link in the show notes. And last but not least, join us on Patreon at patreon.com/gamersweek. And finally, since you made it all the way to the end of the episode, please leave us a rating and review to let us know how we did. And we really do value your feedback. And while you're there, consider subscribing on iTunes, Spotify, or your podcast platform of choice. So, everybody, thank you for attending tonight. The four of us, me, Blue, Donnie, and Donnie's mustache, really appreciate you guys showing up.
He's just like, all right, my time's up. He's going to get up and
just fly away.
Punch it.
Bye bye, mustache.
I felt like I would be a disservice if I didn't mention it on the way out. So,
yeah,
I appreciate it, man.
Yep. Everybody who's just listening is just really not getting the talk to me goose vibes.
But that's them. You know, everybody has their own preference. You, however, said, talk to me, Goose. Ryan confirmed it. So we're going to go with that. I'm going to say that it's Goose from Top Gun. Mm-hmm. And there you go. I can live with that.
But Goose didn't.
Is that why he died? Is that why he died? Because he was rocking a mustache?
It's the mustache. Oh. Totally. That was the whole thing. That's why Maverick wasn't to blame. It was because it was a mustache.
That was good.
That's also
That's
why Maverick survived. He didn't have a mustache.
Exactly. All right,
everybody.
Yeah, good night, everybody.
Good night.
I'm so lonely, so very lonely. Welcome to Gamers Week Uncut.
Welcome to Gamers Week Uncut.
Welcome to Gamers Week Uncut, patrons with benefits. This is the unscripted, patron-only bonus cast with less editing and more dirty jokes. We don't know where the conversation will go, but we're sure it will be weird.
This fish just went right on my nipple, and I'm just like,
I Google Street Fighter 6. The first search result that comes up is people think they can see Ryu's in the Street Fighter 6 reveal.
Listen up here, kids. You're not going to want to get one of those VDSTDs things, right? Make it fall off. When you go, grab a pro. You'll be doing it for America.
That was perfect.
If you want to hear weekly episodes of our patron-only bonus cast, join us at patreon.com/gamersweek.